is the Speaker Knockers.
Boonch Montana, Boonch Montana, Boonch Montana. First time on the track, front I push you back, I said first time on the track.
Nice.
That would be a fun thing that people would do, right? Like where it's just like us. How are you? How are
We're
you?
back.
Can you hear me all right? Because I have the microphone off to the side. Like,
No, it seems
whatever.
fine.
It's a microphone. It's off to
It's
the
just
side.
there. You're fine. Yeah. No, you're fine. I can hear you.
Good.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. I'm just predicting.
Right, yeah.
I can't hear you at all.
You're just guessing what I say.
I'm guessing very well.
Yeah. How are you? We're back.
we're back, but we're in completely different places. Like
That is true.
we're back here to the Boonch Boys, but
Right.
each of us in our own lives are back to another place.
Exactly.
So we have
But
a lot
also-
of
But also to places we have been before on the Boonch Boys.
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. Our
Yeah.
actual like anniversary is coming up in November. Yes.
Boonchiversary.
Speaking of anniversaries, let's not beat around the bush here with what tomorrow is. God.
Oh well,
you're
first of
so
all,
silly.
let's give a quick shout out to Seth Lewis today.
Oh, it's Seth
birthday
Lewis's
today.
birthday. Yes.
Birthday today, Seth Lewis, which is not when we'll be releasing this episode.
No, actually, I have I put up an episode for today, but it was the one that we recorded like 2 weeks ago. And then we're
Nice.
gonna release this in 2 weeks, and Seth is gonna be like,
Seth's
"Oh,
gonna
okay."
be so old.
We'll give it up to
yes.
Seth Lewis first.
Yes.
S Lewis 13 first, and then
So
can you tell people what August 28th is?
August 28th is the anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech. That's true.
Is it actually true?
Yeah, it actually is.
That's
no.
crazy.
Yeah, no, it's also my birthday.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. 21, right? The big 2-1.
21, indeed.
God.
Yes, it's all right.
It's all right. There's literally
Yeah.
nothing you can do except buy legal drugs.
Right.
No, you can vote.
Already. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
Yep, that's it.
Is there anything else? No, right?
No, I mean, like tobacco is like a new 20. Like it's a 21 thing now, right?
Yeah, a legal drug,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's
no, you
like
said that.
alcohol, tobacco, and then
marijuana,
marijuana in
certain
certain places.
Woo!
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the next big one
let's
is 25, where you can rent a
a
car.
Yes,
I
And
think-
that's like the last one, right?
I
Where it's
think
like
so.
A big thing,
And then there's death.
right? Well, then there's like 60 something where you get Social Security, I guess.
Oh yeah, 59 and a half. You actually are able to
So
you're able to withdraw money from your retirement accounts.
Nice.
And then at 70, you're forced to withdraw some money.
oh,
so,
seriously?
so those are two big ones, I guess. 59 and a half and then 70, each related to retirement accounts.
Retirement accounts.
Are there any
you heard
more?
it here first, people.
When do people usually have their midlife crisis?
Oh, like mid of their life. No, like
You
40s,
predicted.
50s, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, so that's another specific one to look out for. You know,
Yeah,
like your
yeah,
midlife
get
crisis,
ready.
your 40 to your 50s
Yeah.
to possibly your
Exactly on
60s.
birthday. Yeah.
Do you think, how old do you think we're gonna get? Like,
Oh,
do you think
I-
medicine is gonna get good, or do you think the world is gonna get bad too quickly?
Ooh, interesting. We're starting out at a 10 here.
Yeah. Your birthday,
not-
your birthday.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the two of us are reasonably healthy people. And I I mean, let's say like, we're not going to have some sort of genetic like disease, who knows, but like, let's
Mhm.
say that's not a thing. I think, I think we're going to live to be pretty old, maybe 100. I think things are going to be pretty bad at that point.
Yeah, if we don't
Yeah,
fix some things, it could get
right.
bad.
Yeah, but
But
I
do you,
feel like
yeah.
at the very least, the two of us, are privileged to the point where like the worst effects will not greet us until we're pretty well up there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, look, I have a New York City subway map and I hate New York City. It's like
Yeah.
I come from health and
I come from home. That's
uh,
good. What do you think? Am I way off? I mean, I'm guessing so much.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's the thing, because the younger generation is like seems to be fairly conscious of the things that could go wrong. So I have some hope in our
Yeah.
ability to turn it around. And I also think we are pretty like where it's crazy. We could be like the healthiest. We're definitely the healthiest generation that has ever lived. Like we're
Is that
able.
true?
No idea. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess a better way to phrase it is we have the ability to be the healthiest that humans
That's
could have
true.
ever been.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
all of the resources possible.
Right.
We
But
have
whether or not we're going to choose to be that
yeah,
healthy
that's
is a whole
that's
other
true.
thing.
We also
Yeah.
have a lot of opportunities to
Yeah.
not do that.
Right. We also have like the highest obesity ever, so
Yeah.
maybe not.
Give it up.
Yeah. Yeah. We're winning.
We're winning. Where are you? Where are you? The birthday boy
Well,
needs to tell us where he is, because even though that looks remarkably similar to your house, it's not.
as you can see by the nondescript white wall behind me, I'm back in my college apartment in Bloomington, Indiana.
Blooming Onion, Indiana.
Nice.
Nice.
The blooming onion of Indiana. No, it's the Bloomington of Indiana, and it's good. And yeah, back in school. Finished up my first days of classes because I luckily am continuing my streak of not having any classes on Fridays. Big fan of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sebastian also doesn't have class on Fridays.
Sebastian.
I think that's a thing.
Yeah. I don't
like,
know how that's a thing.
like how you have always done it, or how it has become a phenomenon among college students,
or just why it always is a thing for like upper class people.
upperclassmen.
Yeah.
Probably just because if the classes are being taught by professors
Yeah.
don't want to work on Friday either. You know what I
Interesting.
mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a whole other person side of this equation, right? There's the professors,
Right.
and my mom would prefer not to teach on Fridays. So
Sure. But then why is that not a thing for underclassmen?
because I don't know. I mean, this is going to be surprising, but we're generalizing.
Sure.
So
that's new for us.
Yeah, brand new. But I feel like a lot of lower level classes are taught by either like adjuncts or teachers assistants, like the actual lectures might be. Yeah, I don't know. There's like, I just think it's human nature to not want to make classes on Friday, especially like Friday afternoon, like
Sure.
that, like people just want to,
kick back. It's
kick a back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kick someone's back. It's Miller time.
No, it's a good time. We've had a good first week. I also only have one class on Tuesday and one class on Thursday, so it's a good time.
But it's an
enjoying
8-hour
myself.
class.
Right, yeah, it's all of Tuesday. No, I'm enjoying myself immensely. And yeah, that's about it. That's where I am. Tell us about you. Did the slinky slimy
I
Boonch
know
fall
it
down?
fell. Isn't that weird?
Oh, no.
Well, that's because I usually have my air conditioner on, which is behind the old timey, well, it's supposed to look
Yeah.
like old timey record player.
Right.
But now I have my fan on, and my fan likes to be pretty obnoxious when it comes to moving around things that aren't bolted down with bolts.
Yeah, with bolts, as opposed to the other things.
Yeah,
yeah, without bolts. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you get it.
like the movie Bolt.
Nice,
nice. Miley Cyrus was in that. All right,
Oh.
it's so I'm back home.
Ah.
Yes. I drove back down from Worcester, August 11th. And now I'm back for an undetermined amount of time. It depends. So we're just sort of feeling it out here. I'm having a good time. I'm back to teaching. I'm back to doing different hobbies like chess. I have, oh my God, this is so funny. I really hope that they find this and then they fire me, but can I tell this story? Okay, so I applied to be like a chess coach for like kids because I saw some things on Indeed. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, if it's close, like I could do it.
Yeah.
And it pays well and whatever. And so I had the interview yesterday, and you know, it was just like basic interview on the phone where it was like asking me how I like my experience with dealing with kids, and I feel like I had some because I tutor, and like just general chess questions to make sure that she was like, what's castling? I'm like, okay, I know how to play. And then it was so weird. One of the questions during the interview was, do you wear Halloween? Like, do you like wearing Halloween costumes on Halloween? Like, do you wear Halloween costumes? And I was like, yeah, but what I do is I don't like, just like, I'm not just like I get an outfit where it's like, oh, I'm a nurse. Like what I do is like smart, like kind of humor things. So last year, what I did was I had a blue shirt.
Oh, you did?
And I had a chicken, and then there was a rope.
What did they say?
They laughed. They thought it was funny.
I mean, because
it is funny. It is objectively hilarious. Yeah. So yeah, I it was hard to not laugh at that point in the interview.
Yeah,
but
no, that's good.
But yeah, it went well, and I find out soon.
Yeah, so. Yeah. The chicken cordon bleu is a guaranteed.
Tell your dad I'll send him any royalties. Like
yeah. It's that's fun.
Isn't that so fun?
No, that is, and I was wondering if like how serious they were going to be about like the chess aspect of it. If they're going to be like, you know, knight to e4, and you're like, you know, like that sort of thing. It's like, what do you do? You know,
that I'm like bishop e7. They're like blunder, and they hang up.
yeah, exactly. You suck.
Try again next year.
Yeah, unless you can give me a dynamite Halloween costume pun in the next 4 minutes.
Yeah,
we're done with this.
So
and then you're back in.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Funny. And I don't know, that could be interesting just because like I'm interested in chess, and but yeah, I'm back at home.
Very nice.
We have a story to tell, I think.
We do indeed.
So do you want to start? Why don't you start with your half of the story, and then we'll go with my half of the story.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. My mom posted something about this on Facebook. So if there's any overlap between our listeners and my mom's Facebook friends, they will already know this. But so I was driving to Bloomington, would have been August 20th. Yes.
Yeah. Friday the 20th.
Yes. To go here, Bloomington, where I am. That's my half of the story.
Yeah. So when did you
Yeah.
leave? How was the morning?
We left around 6, I think, and yeah, took the normal route. It was a rainy morning. It was a dark and stormy night. No, it was a rainy morning, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
now I'll tell my
Your
part of
half.
the story. So it's very similar. The reasoning for leaving is not the same. So we were going to my grandfather's memorial service. The funeral was a couple months back because they were like, they didn't want to have the memorial service and the funeral at the same time because COVID was worse then, I think. And so they had the funeral like 4 or 5 months ago. And then the memorial service was this weekend. And so my dad, me, and Leah were going to drive up there, do like the really quick trip to Columbus and back, where we would drive up on Friday, service was on Saturday, come back Sunday. So we left at Friday, the 20th at 6 a.m. It was a dark and stormy morning, and we did it.
We did it.
Absolutely did it.
We 100% did it.
We did it. Look at us.
Look at that.
So
Boonch
where
Boys
was
on the
this?
road.
Do you remember where this was?
I think it was like a random rest stop in Maryland. And careful where we're zooming in there. But it was crazy because I mean, you and your dad and your sister had like just pulled in and were getting out right as we were pulling in, and I saw your car, which is a normal car.
It's a great Toyota Camry. It's
right.
pretty,
So it wasn't like
pretty,
immediately like that's David.
That has to be him.
Right.
Oh, look, one gray Toyota Camry with no distinctive features.
Right. But I don't know, I just saw like the back of you and your dad, and I was like, that's a combo that I feel like I've seen before. And then it was legitimately you, and we saw each other.
We
did.
We lit that town up.
And then the next rest stop we saw each other again.
Oh yeah, we stopped at the same rest stop because we saw each other. We saw each other on the road, right? We passed you, and then I was like, I texted you, "Eat my dust" or whatever, something stupid.
Like that. Eat my dust. Yeah.
As I'm asleep in the passenger seat. Yeah. So look at that. Boonch Boys literally hit the road. Seriously.
What do you call that?
Coincidence?
Yeah. That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't coordinate that. It was
no, not at all. That was crazy.
And so did classes start for you on Monday?
Classes started for me on Monday.
So was that cutting it close? Did you feel like that was cutting it close, or?
It was definitely the closest I have cut it in the past. Yeah. No, normally, in the past I've been there at least like, I don't
4
know.
months.
Yeah, exactly. No,
a
like
year and
at
a
least
half.
a few days before. But we got there Friday night, and as you had noticed, like I didn't have a ton to unpack, which was nice. Just because I hadn't brought that much home.
Yeah, my dad was like, "You're going to college?" I was like, "Yeah, Dad, he's going to college." And then he was like, "He has nothing in the back."
Well, it's because I have all this stuff here.
Yeah, you had like one tub, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, no, it was all right.
It's just Boonch Boy merch that we didn't sell.
It's just our stock.
It's just one big cashew.
Nice. Bringing it back.
Every episode we should mention the cashew.
I think we have achieved that already.
And if we don't, we have to have it hidden somewhere in the background, and then people can find it.
Nice. I like that. A little hidden gem.
Easter eggs.
See,
Boonch Boys are a good podcast because you learn more the second time you watch it. It rewards you for rewatching.
Right. Yeah, you gotta really listen deep. Yeah, what were we talking about?
Right.
Yeah,
we just finished our story.
yeah. No, so yeah, no, I got here, but we, my mom was here Saturday, still, and then left Sunday, and
I
she
heard
was
Toledo was on the way back.
indeed it was. Yes, she split up the trip, stopped to see her family and my family as well, but her side of the family in Toledo,
Did you know
Ohio.
Toledo is Italian for split the trip up into two
Split the
parts?
trip, yeah. It's one of those towns that's like named after a much better city than it is. Because Toledo is in Spain. And then yes, and
Ah.
then they just put it in Ohio, and it's not as good. That's a
What
definitely
do you
thing.
think? What do you think? Why? Is it because Ohio kind of looks
Well,
like Spain a little bit?
yeah, that's definitely what it
It's
is.
just like kind of blocky, you know.
Right. It's almost a square, but not at all. And yeah, no, there's like a London, Ontario, and like a Paris, Tennessee. Like there's a bunch of those things where it's like it's not as good,
Do,
clearly.
do we have one of those here? Oh wait, Alexandria.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
there you go. Exactly.
Egypt
Yeah, we are not Egypt. Um,
yet. Colonialism.
that's what they call Virginia. It's the Egypt of America.
But that, yeah,
No,
it's not for lovers. It is the
it's for Egyptians.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's for the Pharisees.
Nice
Yeah.
reference.
Oh yeah, classic Pharaoh reference. Yeah. No, but it was a good time, and my mom was a trooper doing all that driving.
That didn't
Um,
need to be said. We already all knew that.
yeah. If there's one thing we know about my mom, it's a trooper.
She's a trooper.
She's a trooper indeed.
And she stopped having it in Toledo.
Mhm.
So
The
I
best
have a
one.
question.
Please.
What are your road trips like? Like, what's your road trip etiquette? What happens?
Ooh, interesting. Good question. It's pretty simple. We don't talk. No, I'm kidding. That would have been funny though. Yeah, we stay completely silent for 13 hours. We no, I mean it's pretty simple. It depends on how many of us are in the car. That is true.
Yeah.
Because if all four of us are in the car,
Mhm.
number one, we have to pack a little bit less, obviously.
Mhm.
But it also means that some people can, go to sleep. Some people can sort of, listen to music and not be involved. And there's going to be, oh my gosh.
Don't know what keeps happening.
Yeah, that's all right. And some people will be up front, keeping the driver awake and everything. And so, yeah, just hitting them repeatedly. But yeah, no, I mean, when it's so to bring it back to this road trip, when it's just two of us, when it's just my mom and me, I'm in the past, certainly I've been a big car sleeper. Love a good sleep in the car.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's specifically with road trips because I don't like sleeping that much. Well, that's not true. I was gonna say I don't like sleeping that much when we're like in stop and go traffic because then I just get a little like, meh. But when it's just we're consistently going 70,
when you're going 140 miles on the I-70.
right. It's a nice just do like that feeling of just smooth motion. Anyway, but so I try not to sleep as much. My mom is somewhat controlling when it comes to driving, especially with her car. It makes sense, and so she likes to drive more, even though I repeatedly say I will drive as much as you want me to. And so I drive a little bit, she drives a little bit. We listen to some music, we talk a little bit, we listen to a podcast, and then we talk again. That's about it.
Interesting.
Yeah. We pack a lunch always.
Really?
Oh yeah, we're big on that. We like
grapes?
never Not necessarily. Not
Celery.
this time. No, this is gonna go on for a while. We
Yeah.
just keep guessing.
Yeah, it's only baba ganoush.
It's one can of sliced beets. No, no, it's usually like some sort of salad, fresh vegetable. This time she had a salad. Or no. We both had fresh vegetables and hummus. We packed breakfast as well this time because we were leaving early.
6 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
As
You're
I've been told.
Yes, indeed. She had some yogurt. I don't remember what I had, but yeah. So we do like to pack some things if we have time. We stop for lunch, make a little picnic of it. But it was hot and we didn't have time, so we didn't. Anyway, I'm telling you way too much.
No, I think that's very interesting because our road trips are similar in ways but different in ways. So we don't really take road trips with my mom and Greg because like we don't have family that can be driven to, right? We have our condo down in Florida, but that's a nightmare to drive. Yeah. It's like 18 hours. So almost all the road trips that we've done have been with my father because my father has family in Ohio. And yeah, that's drivable. It's like 6 hours, and that's usually much easier than getting on a flight. And so what happens usually is, let's just assume that it's all three of us, my sister, me, and my dad. My sister sleeps nearly the entire time.
We should come back to that because I thought that was very interesting when you told me about that. But
really, okay, yes. Let's come back to that.
We'll circle back.
So Leah is always asleep because the road trips usually take a while, and my dad loves to leave early. He's like, we've left at 5 a.m. before. Yeah,
that's the best.
And like we get to Columbus at 11, and there were no plans that we needed to be at. So that's my dad, and I've sort of I sort of like that now as well, just from habit. But Leah's always a late night person, so she stays up late and then sleeps the whole thing. And so my dad and I, the early boys, I'm almost awake the entire time. I'll like nod off for 10 or so minutes, 15 minutes, so here or there. But mostly we do what you do, which is either listen to music. Our main thing is like listening to revisionist history, just because, we like, I liked revisionist history. My dad sort of likes pointing out how he doesn't like Malcolm Gladwell, and so it's like an equal exchange.
A little something for everybody. Yeah,
and like for example, we listened to like 2 episodes of season 6, like the new season that he has coming out, and then we had like an hour discussion afterwards about the topic, and so we usually do that. I'm usually his co-pilot, and he doesn't really like to let me drive until he gets really tired, which happened a couple times where I would drive for like an hour and then he would like take a nod off in the back while Leah keeps me company, and then we just sort of switch back around. So we never pack lunch. We always try and find something on the road real quick. Which has been harder since becoming vegan, but it's still whatever. It's still fun because you can get the Impossible Whopper at Burger King now with no cheese.
Very nice, very good.
So that's ours. Questions. Please. Yeah.
So number one, what kind of music do you listen to?
Jazz. Almost. Yeah, because historically it's been jazz. This time I was like sort of into Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Interesting.
So we listened
what prompted that? A little CCR?
I don't know. I think I heard one of their songs, and it was like one of those things in the movies where it was like pretend you're CCR, say something.
I'm CCR. What are we?
Like it was something like that where it's like literally head turning. And then I like looked into them, and then I listened to some of their greatest hits, and then
Yeah, it's a
And
good
so,
time.
yeah, we listen to some of that.
That's cool.
And then if Leah's awake, she tries to get the aux cord and do rap.
I see. Do.
What about you?
Well, I asked this because one of the things that I have, or that I think I've noticed, is that a lot of the time, especially when my parents are driving, and any one of us is controlling the music. Excuse me. We always want to have something where we can like sing along. That's a big thing. That we
Karaoke.
sing, yeah, something like that. Um,
You're like, guys, we can't bring Philip because we have to bring the karaoke machine.
right. We need to bring a full jukebox.
Philip's like, you're taking me to college. No.
Because I also think that helps us all, like, stay awake and just stay like energized a little bit and have a little bit.
It's good to
more
stay
fun.
active.
You got to. And yeah. Yes. And so, like, we like the classical music, but it's not as fun it's not honestly as fun like driving at all, just
Yeah.
because there's more change in dynamics. So you have to like constantly turn it up, and then it gets loud all of a sudden. You have to turn it down, and it's a whole thing. And it's, again, not something you can sing along to very easily, at least.
Or well.
That is
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, there was that.
So Aretha Franklin and then Elvis Presley, like those are the only two sing along people I sort of know, right?
Interesting.
Is there anyone else?
I mean, there's so many.
Creedence Clearwater Revival. So
Yeah.
we have Elvis, Aretha Franklin,
Yeah.
CCR.
Let's list all of the vocalists.
God.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's, plenty of people.
Kermit the Frog did It's Not Easy Being Green.
There we go.
Have you heard that song?
Yeah.
God.
Now we have 4. No, my dad likes some classic rock, some southern rock, perhaps. My mom, big into the Indigo Girls.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, no, it's 2 women, and it's a lot of like folk-ish things.
Folk is good.
I like folk. Yeah, no, it's a good time.
It literally means people. Isn't that
that's
nice?
true. Yeah, no, it's a good time.
It's just like folk's music.
Yeah. Peter, Paul, and Mary. Do you know them?
Yes.
Yeah.
PPM, CCR.
Well, PPM. All the 3-letter bands.
Yeah.
ELO.
That
Nice.
was I literally. ELO was okay. I do this weird thing where sometimes like I'll walk and I'll just imagine fake scenarios that happen.
Oh yeah.
This is going to make me sound like super conceited, but it's funny that you said ELO just now.
I'm 100% sure I do the same thing.
So I've been like thinking about like different aspects of chess and how I would explain it to people. Like if you ever asked me to explain what chess was, I sometimes like, what is this? What is this? What is, and one of the things in chess is your rating, right? And if you do online chess, you're given a rating, and the rating is called the ELO. I don't know exactly what it stands for, but I imagined a scenario where you were asking me this on the podcast. What does ELO stand for? And I say Electric Light Orchestra, and then you laugh.
Nice. I would have. That's very
What
good.
if like the time space-time continuum just ruptured?
Oof.
What would happen? Would we just stop existing, or would time become weird? Do you know? You took that physics class, didn't you?
We've gone in a very different direction.
You took that class. You should answer this.
Yeah. No, I think it would be tough, but we'd get through it. That's what I'd have to say about that.
Okay, I'm sorry for taking us off track.
No, you're good. I wish I had an answer to that question, but
it wasn't a question. It was a dumb story.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're talking about the space time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We're never gonna.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, we got to figure this
So
out.
we're saying,
Oh,
yeah, singing,
yeah,
yes.
singing.
Yeah. But okay, so to circle back to the Leah sleeping, I think that's a really interesting idea because I did used to sleep, like I really only slept, I think, like an hour or so this trip, which was 13, and that was not fun. But
Hour 13.
well, no. It was 13
Oh,
hours,
okay.
but I slept like hour 8 or something. You know,
Isn't there a movie called 13 Hours starring John Krasinski? Am I crazy?
There's a movie called 12 Monkeys.
Wait, hold on. I want to figure this out.
It's a completely different
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, there's also 12 Angry Men.
Right. Let's just keep listing movies now.
Yeah, see, it's a
13
movie.
hours?
The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Is this you guys driving to?
Yeah. That's me and my mom. The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Wow, interesting.
It's real.
Yeah, but in the past I've definitely slept more throughout the trip, especially if it's an all four of us road trip. We like a good road trip. Because it makes the whole trip go by much faster.
Yeah, if everybody drives to, like, if you're going to Columbus, let's say, and it takes 8 hours, whatever, then you each drive 2 hours, and then you could each technically sleep 6 hours, but you could also technically sleep 4, or it doesn't have to be as regimented. So.
Right. That is also true. But I think that's an interesting, plan that she does there. Yeah, that's all I had to say. I didn't have anything huge to say about it.
It's interesting that, like, I feel like the dynamics of a road trip definitely become more rigid, and you have more responsibilities the less people that are in the car.
Yes.
Right. So because if there's more people to do each one of the tasks, like keep the driver awake, keep the drinks cold. I don't know.
That was a person doing that.
You figure it out.
Yeah, right. No, that's true. I mean, it's the classic division of labor conundrum. Yeah. If you only have fewer people, you divide bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yes.
And a great story to add to the Boonch Boys. Oh
my God.
That's okay. I'll just put her right.
Yeah. Just take it right. So I have a question.
Ask me.
All right. I'll do it.
Okay.
Bye. The podcast that we listen to, one of the podcasts that we listen to, my mom really likes, and I've started to really like it as well. It's called On Being with Krista Tippett.
God, I wish you said on bean.
On a bean.
It's the only topic is beans.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I was just imagining Krista Tippett like sitting on a bean. On bean.
It's the same podcast. She's just doing it currently on a bean.
Yeah, she is on top of a bean.
God, this is good. We need.
Yeah, this is the quality content.
We need a budget.
Yeah, we need to be able to buy a bean as
we should see if we can make Boonch Boys a nonprofit for the good of humanity.
5013C. Yes. We should get a Boonch Boys credit card.
There we go.
Just for beans. Anyway,
Chris
so
and Tippett.
It's a really cool podcast. It's a lot of it's talking about being and spirituality and just living a good life and happiness and all this sort of stuff. And they interview a ton of different people. Yo-Yo Ma was on one time, and it was a whole thing.
I know him.
Yeah, you're familiar. And
your mother was on. Okay,
yeah, everybody
didn't
talks
know
about Yo Mama jokes. It's Yo-Yo Ma jokes.
There we go.
Come on. I'm sure no one has ever said that before.
Do you really think nobody said your mother before?
Oh, I was gonna say I don't know.
What was Kristen Tippett talking about?
So she was interviewing these two people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see. One of them was named Abby Womack.
Oh, the
yes,
soccer player?
Soccer player, indeed. And then Abby Womack's wife, Glennon Doyle. She's also a person, not a soccer player. But yes, and so the two of them they talked a lot about a lot of different things. Glennon Doyle, I think it was Glennon Doyle, yeah, had she was
Arthur
talking,
Conan Doyle.
nice. She was talking about her struggles with sobriety, so that was a whole piece of it. But they were talking about how they're raising their kids, and they have 2 daughters and 1 son. And I think that actually came from, I think one of them was married to like a man earlier, and then they were like, oh, I'm not, that. And so, but anyway, they're raising these 3 kids together,
Mhm.
and they were talking about, their lesbian
Names.
couple, and they're like, power couple, because
Mhm.
Glenn Doyle's written a bunch of stuff, Abby Womack's this amazing soccer player, all this sort of stuff, and they were talking about how they're raising their daughters, and saying, we're always saying you got to be, fierce, you can be angry, all this sort of stuff, like getting out of the traditional feminine gender roles, all this sort of stuff. It's great. And they were talking about they went into their kid's shower one time, not while one of the kids was in there, but just they went in there, and they were looking at the differences between the shampoo bottles. Mm-hmm. And like the girls,
between the guy and the girls, right?
Yes, yeah, okay. Yeah. And the girls' shampoo, it was just like, random unconnected words like elegance and delicate and light and all this sort of stuff. And then the boys, it was like, we're gonna drop kick odor or something, and they were like, whoa, even like before our kids even get out of the shower in the morning, if they shower in the morning, I don't mean to presume, that they
careful.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a large part of our demographic audiences night showers.
So gotta be careful here. But before they even get out of the shower, we're already teaching them these gender roles. Although, to be completely honest, like, who reads their
I've never once read a shampoo
I didn't know there were words like that on there. But they were then talking about, with their son, realizing that the way they put it is like, it could be just as harmful or problematic to not tell a boy that he doesn't have to be, let's say, angry, as it would be to tell a girl that she can never be angry. That sort of idea.
Say that one more time.
So it could be just as so basically we're sometimes, the way they put it is that we're sometimes so intent on helping our girls get out of their or society's sort of feminine gender roles that we sometimes forget about also actively getting boys out of the masculine gender roles. And that is, so the way he said, it can be just as problematic to not tell boys that they don't have to be angry as it can to tell girls that they can never be angry.
Oh, yeah.
And so that led to a whole discussion that my mom and I were talking about, like, how much
more do we have to drive?
This is such a long drive. No, like how I was raised, how my parents raised me, and Philip as well. And if we felt that had ever been like an issue, that my parents hadn't worked hard enough to break us out of those roles that society imposes.
Can I give my opinion?
Yeah, please.
You definitely have a lot of anger. So you clearly
Yeah.
like go you attach to that masculine identity and you never let go. You never let go.
Yeah, no, I'm consistently angry and very worried about being strong. So
There we go.
yeah,
Henry.
that's me. Yeah, if there's one thing we know, it's I'm you know, I need to have big muscles. Yeah, but no, so I think, you know, in that sense, obviously not, you know, the case. But one of the things I was thinking about was the idea of crying. And, you know, crying is always that thing where it's like men don't cry and, you know, push it down and bah, you know, all that sort of stuff. And girls cry, so boys can't cry and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this and really thinking that, like, I do not cry that much. And there have been times when I wish I did more, because I really do think it can be a very healthy thing. You know, if and when it's needed. But I was also wondering, you know, this is where I didn't know how to answer my mom. Like, how much of this is gender roles, you know, from society? Because when I feel as though I could cry but don't, I never feel like that I'm about to, but I'm holding it back, you know, that because I don't want other people to see. It's just that I don't. And so how much of this, you know, can I know is, you know, subconsciously from gender roles, from society, or how much of it is just that I'm happy a lot of the time and that I don't need to cry, or just that I, you know, it's some part of my makeup that I just don't cry that much. So that, again, I guess the larger question is there a way that we, you know, that we can differentiate between those characteristics that we have that are that come about as a result of societal expectations, and those that just are part of me and that just happen to align with gender roles?
Yeah, I first off, I totally agree with you. I would say that I do cry, like, not like never, but not like every week or something.
Right.
Where it's like, usually what happens is, like, I'll be watching, I'll be like, the two things that get me the most are like Martin Luther King Jr. giving any speech, and then like
August 28th.
Oh boy. Here it comes.
Oh my god.
And then it's just like different videos online that people call cry porn. Have you ever heard of this?
I feel like I have, or something like that.
It's like it's videos that are supposed to make you, like, soldiers coming back and reuniting with their family, like dogs whose owners have died, so they sleep by their graves. Just stuff like that also gets me. And I totally agree with you where I don't really ever cry in public. And I think it's not so much because, I mean, yeah, I don't think you and I are very caring about our masculine image. So
no, I don't think so.
So I think we can not want to cry in public for a reason that's like aligned with masculine ideals, but we more, or let me just speak for myself. I just don't really feel comfortable being that emotionally present in front of other people. Right. Like usually I'm not in a situation where something like that is happening. Right. This one time I saw Selma with my mom, and I cried. I was trying to hold it back, but it's like, that's one of those things where it's like, there aren't as many opportunities. And if there aren't that many opportunities, and I don't think I would allow myself to even get there, just because I am not that type of person to put my emotions out on my face. You know, like, and I don't know, is that a thing where it's like girls are told to cry. Like,
Well, yeah, it's like cry. No, no, I don't think it's that.
now is sad.
Right, but I do think, again, it's great that we have two boys talking about this. But,
Yes.
that's what the world needs.
Mhm.
But
I mean, they know
I
what they're getting into. It's called
right,
Boonch
right,
Boys.
that's true. Right, yeah, it's right there in the title. But I was going to ask, do you think that the expectation or just the feeling that I don't want to be that emotionally vulnerable in public, do you think that in itself is something that is more impressed upon boys than it is on girls?
It probably is in certain places, and it can that can definitely be associated with that for certain people. Like if they've had that upbringing where that was taught to them by
Right.
their very traditionalist fathers or whatever,
Yeah.
that makes sense. But I was never taught that. I think.
Right. Right.
I mean, my dad isn't like, he doesn't do that, and so I
Yeah.
probably learned it from him, but not necessarily because he's just a masculine figure, just because he was the person in my life. So and I don't know, because there are definitely females that are not sorry, we had this conversation.
We did, yeah.
Not females, ladies or women. Ladies or women.
I think
women
women is good.
Women.
Yeah.
There are definitely some that are exactly like us, where they don't like to be like that, and it's very likely that it might. My answer is it could be, and for a lot of people, it very well is.
Yeah.
But for us, it's probably not as clear cut.
I think that's a good answer.
We're a complex set of boys.
Oh yes, it's all Boonch all the time.
We should rename it to Complex Boys.
That'd be great. Complicated boys.
Complicated boys.
That's funny. Yeah. No, I think it's a good answer. It's up there, Steve.
It's very interesting because, like, I also think that the type of, like, we had very similar high school performative social things, right? Like we sort of acted in similar ways, and we sort of fulfilled similar social roles when we were in high school. Kind of like, I don't know, goofy, funny type of people, but it's like more relaxed, and we were band people. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe let me speak for myself. Right. Where it's like, yeah, sometimes I would act myself a fool, and it was easy for me to sort of forget gender roles because I've talked with Leah about this. I think certain boys sort of try and amp up their humor level just if they don't think they might be like as attractive as like the baseball boys or whatever. And I think I was one of those people where it's like, that was my ticket in, it was like humor. And some of that took the form of just being funny and whatever. And like sort of defying gender expectations in certain ways that could be humorous, and sort of letting go of the seriousness of social, like being around other people, where it's like when you're sort of playing the role of comedian or funny guy, you don't need to be as serious with the way you present yourself, because you can always present it with some sort of ironic detachment, and therefore you never get super formed into one masculine type of thing, because you don't like, that's not, I don't know, that's why I think people have called me effeminate in some ways, and that's probably where it comes from. And so I think, again, very complex situation here.
Indeed. I will also say I think that at least on my part, there was some sort of leaning into that non-masculine person. And people have also called me effeminate.
Nice.
People have also assumed, oh yeah, let's do it. We did it. People have also assumed that I am gay. Not to say that all gay people need to be effeminate, but you know, I'm not, but it's like a thing where I when you know, when I was playing in like the pit orchestra for the musicals and stuff like that, and I'd be like singing along and dancing and in my seat because I just like the music and it's fun. But also, like you said, you know, that sort of, you know, that was my way of, number one, you know, being silly and that sort of thing, but also of just sort of leaning into that role as not the baseball boy, because that was never going to be something that I would successfully be able to pull off. Be able to successfully pull off. That's much better. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Complex boys we are.
Yeah. So remember that picture that we took at like,
Yes.
whose house was it? You know what I'm talking about.
Emma Ald's house.
Emma Ald's house. Yes. And we like had that as our background for a while, remember?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Like, I don't know who told me. But we never thought that it was like we could be giving off the idea that we were gay, right? Like,
I mean, I definitely thought.
Okay, you thought that I'm just dumb. like
I mean, I don't know, because I'm thinking, I think it's just a good picture of us, so I think I put it in one of my online dating profiles once.
Nice.
And I was like, do I need to caption this?
I'm not gay.
And I did, and it's been fine. So like I don't know, but sorry, go ahead. You were saying.
Yeah, I don't know, because the thought of that being how I appeared never crossed my mind. So I don't know if that's because like I'm like, oh, it's like, yeah, we're friends, but it's like it's kind of a joke that we're like a couple or something like that. And I don't know. It's just, it could be that where I thought other people would view it the same way I did, or I don't know. I've sort of, being around Amelia a lot has been opening my eyes to how other people actually do perceive me, and they can perceive me in a way that I wouldn't want them to perceive me as necessarily. And I still don't have that sense developed. Like I'll present myself, I think, authentically, and I think in a way that might be funny or something. But then if you didn't know me and you were just viewing how I was, you would either think I'm offensive or suggest something completely different than the way that I actually am. And so I don't know, that in itself might just be a masculine trait that that I've just been able to have, where it's like I'm allowed to be whatever I want, and I don't really care what anyone else thinks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Amelia has had to, she tells me she's had to think about that like all the time. And I'm sure that's true for a lot of women, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily because those are passed down traits.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was a good example.
No, I think it's a very good example. I would say two things. First is that I think, you know, if two girls had taken that same photo, nobody would be like, clearly they're lesbians.
Yeah,
like, that's not,
that's true.
I don't think that would be as much of a worry. But
clearly they're lesbians. That's what you should caption that picture of us.
Clearly we're lesbians. But also, I mean, I definitely think I think I am somewhat less confident, you know, especially around, you know, people I don't know, and, you know, thinking a little bit more about how they're perceiving me and that sort of thing. And I think I've actually had to learn the opposite lesson, which is people aren't perceiving me nearly as much as I think, just in general. People don't care about me and the way I look and the way I'm doing things nearly as much as I think they are. Not in a conceited way, more just in an anxious way.
You're like, I need people to perceive me.
Right. Why is no one looking at me? But yeah, so I do think that, that sort of, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like an instinct or just that thought process, about how I'm presenting myself, versus how others are perceiving me, or how I perceive myself versus how others are perceiving me. I think it really can be varied, among each gender. And well, I don't know, because we haven't asked any girls, but or women. But I will say, I think it's different between us in that sense. I will say that.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to unpack any one of these traits and be like, is this because you watched a TV show many times and it was this is what men do?
Exactly.
Probably not for us.
How far back can we go? Or yeah, like the other thing, is with the example of learning certain traits from our dad just subconsciously. What if our dads learned it like consciously from their dads telling them that they shouldn't cry, like that sort of thing? How far back does this go?
Who do we talk to? We have to get to the bottom of this.
My great grandfather was a sexist pig. No,
we're not going to rest until justice has been served.
Exactly. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. There's so much that we just don't, or I would assume can't know to a point. But either way, I think the two of us are doing just fine in that regard. And on a bean.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Before we. Yeah. So
we have been going for a full hour now.
We have. Yeah. I love that sound. It's so good for so many things. Like it's so funny when someone says a good thing and you're like, ugh. But I think another thing that sort of complicates it, where it might be more clear cut in the past, because let me say the thing first. So part of our socialization has been the internet.
Yes.
We not only get socialization from school, friends, and family now, and then other role models, but now we can receive it from the internet, which I think adds a whole other layer of like roles, especially since the internet is much more of a youth thing, and it's or at least where we exist. And so it's much more like gender conscious, where it's able to provide a socialization that is much more geared towards the modern sensibilities of these and other topics. So we've been able to receive that very varied and very modern socialization that parents in the past might not have been able to. And also the internet is like super complex. And there's so many things that we consume, where it's like in the 1600s, you had your farm and your town and your parents. It was pretty simple where you got your stuff. Yeah. So, books.
That is true. I mean, with just how much information we consume on a daily basis.
I eat 2 books a day.
Nailed it.
Neat humor.
It's another one of those things where it's like, it's so hard to know what is influencing me and what is me responding to influences, and I don't know.
Isn't this what college counselors are for? Like, exactly. Show me where to go.
Right. Oh, that's a big thing, that like there's so much. This is sort of on a different thing, which we will definitely not have time to discuss.
The Boonch boys should just be renamed Tangent Boys.
Complex tangent boys.
Complex tangential boys.
Nice. I love that.
CTB. We got the 3 letters. We
yeah,
upgraded.
we made it. Now we're as good as ELO now.
And CCR.
And CCR and the other one. PPM. Oh, so there's this idea that, and people say it a lot to their kids. This whole idea of like you can be whatever you want, that sort of thing. Which great. Again, breaking especially young girls out of this idea that I have to stay at home and
read my shampoo bottles.
Exactly. As
and
the
be
of
all
the past have done.
be all the vague things on my shampoo bottle.
Exactly.
Elegant.
Exactly. So we again, very good thing, and this has been a thing, I don't know, for like since sort of the late 20th century, when things got a lot more focused on the self, on the individual. And it's good, but also it's the problem of choice, of too many choices again, where it's like you can be whatever you want. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I want to be. Like I have no idea, and I still have no idea at this point, which is fine, but it is an issue. And so I remember reading a book where it's they were talking about we have to think less about what we want out of life and more what we feel life wants from us. And I was like, I still don't know what I want to do. I still have no idea.
You're like, you just rephrased the question.
Right, you just moved words around. Let's all calm down. But no, I mean, I like that idea a little bit more, that it's letting other things guide us rather than trying to guide ourselves to the perfect place, especially when I can absolutely admit this, like I definitely don't know what's best for me all the time.
Applesauce.
Yes.
Trust
right
me.
now.
And trust me. And trust me. I'm like, trust me.
All the time.
I'm like, it gets you good.
It's fabulous. Anyway, that was just another thing, but that idea of you can be whatever you want to be, and the world is your oyster, is it's just good stuff. Is good in the sense that it's counteracting those gender roles, but also I think has some negative effects.
Yeah, and sort of to go off that, like I've definitely been experiencing that the past year, because Amelia has been teaching me all these things. Like I never used to be a nature boy, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And also I only started running really like a lot because of this one book. So like this one book, Born to Run, and then Amelia taking me camping and climbing. It's like these things have almost become essential parts of who I am. And they're like a year old or something like that. And so, yeah, you can sort of just like, I find going with the flow is very fun, and then trying to explore the things as much as you like. So,
yeah. And I mean, I think that's also an important point, that we don't know, where we're going to be in a year. We don't know what new things people will have taught us or that we'll start to enjoy. And, shout out to my dad. Bye. No, I'm kidding. just end with a quick shout out to my dad. No, he worked, at the same job for like 27 years, I think. And he's now just starting his 3rd year of teaching math. Just because he was like, I want to do something different. And he did, and it was a huge change. And I still think it's just really incredible what he did. But, I remember when I was studying music, like that mindset of everything I'm doing in college, everything I'm doing after college, it's all focused on getting this one job. And then once I get that one job, I just need to get tenure, and then I'll have that job for the rest of my life and I'll be set. Like that is not, at least for me, not an okay plan. You know, like that's, I think, like you said, needing to be able to go with the flow. And as I said, right now, like I have no idea what I want to do when I graduate. But a lot of it right now is just sort of faith that that thing will find me when it does, you know. Hmm.
Nice. You
All
feel
right.
that? You feel
Oh
that?
yeah,
It's wisdom.
that's applesauce.
Boonch, Montana. Boonch, Montana. Boonch, Montana. First time on the track.